welcome to CGMA's interview with the masters today. We have Zac Retz. He's teaching the CGMA class of the Art of Color and Light. This interview is an hour. It's an open conversation, so feel free to ask questions anytime. We'll do our best to answer all of them. There is a slight 20-second delay on the broadcast, so please be patient when we answer your questions. Spring term is starting April 1st for CGMA, so please go ahead and go register for classes. And let's give a warm welcome to Zac.
Cool. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Cool. Is this still pixelated for you guys? Hold on one second. Do you have are you working on a large res file, Zac, by any chance? Is it pretty big?
Yeah, it might be. Is that causing a problem?
I think it might be causing some pixelation for like the stream.
I'll save. Do I save a smaller one?
Yeah, see if that helps.
Make it half the size. Still.
It looks fine on my end. Yeah, well, it's cool. We'll just roll with it and see what I can do along the way. But yeah, go ahead. Okay, cool. Yeah, Zac, do you want to start with like a brief intro about yourself or bio, how you started, what you're doing?
Yeah. Let's see. I went to art school in upstate New York, in Rochester Institute of Technology. They had like a small illustration program. So I mainly studied editorial illustration because I wanted to be work for magazines and do kids books. And when I graduated, I illustrated a kids book called Too Much Glue, and that one did really well. It became an Amazon bestseller. They're working on like a 20, I think either 10 or 20-minute short right now,
Cool.
based on the book, which I'm pretty excited about. It's really good so far. And then I got into games. I worked at a small studio, and I painted backgrounds for Disney and Nickelodeon games. And I did that for about almost 2 years. And then on the side, I was freelancing for some visual development for film. And I was, after about 2 years, I left Working Man Interactive and just worked on my portfolio, continued to freelance. I knew I didn't want to be in games anymore. I just wanted to switch it up. I needed a break. And then I got a job at Real Effects, and that's where I am now. I'm working on this Scooby-Doo animated feature film, and really excited about this. It's looking awesome so far.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So I noticed your work has a lot of really amazing colors, colors that I would have never like thought even think about to like put down. Um, how do you practice or get good at color and lighting to better understand it?
Um, there's a few things that I kind of figured out and along the way. Um, One is studying from film. Just like you watch a movie, take screenshots, and um, it's helpful to turn those to black and white, and then do grayscale, and then do like simplify the value structure. So take a screenshot, and then you look at how the lighting is simplified and uh, separated out. So if you do a study with only using 2 or 3 values, it really helps to train your eye to look for those big shapes and uh, grouping the values. Um, so that is really helpful. Also, look at like the master landscape painters, and um, like if you're on Pinterest, I'm always pinning like paintings that I love. Like Richard Schmid is one of my favorites right now. His stuff is awesome. This is a great way to learn about color, and seeing how getting uh, that rich color that a lot. I feel like looking at art nowadays, there's a lot of people you can tell that only look at photos or only look at movie stills, and they're kind of missing out on that richness that will come from studying masters or studying outside. That's another thing. Painting outside is what I love doing. This on the weekends and when I take breaks at work. Um, Doing these little acrylic studies are super beneficial to see how light actually works in real life and trying to capture that. So yeah, that's my recommendation for getting good at color.
Nice. Could you show us some of your work, like, and how it like translates?
Yeah. Um, so like this is a pretty good example of this one with the girl. She's walking, and uh, there's like there's this like rock structure behind her, and if you squint at this, you can see the values are really separated out, and it's just simple and effective storytelling. I feel
Hmm.
like this is kind of how I start with these grayscale studies. One thing that has been fun is taking my iPad out at night and painting um, night scenes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's super challenging. The first one you do will be like horrible. You're like trying to figure it out. You're like, how do I paint on my iPad? Yeah. But once you kind of understand it, it's so much fun.
That's awesome. Do you usually start with simple value thumbnails?
Yeah, I like to do these 3 value, um, 2 or 3 value sketches to start out with.
That's cool.
Yeah, this what I just flipped through is like this is my portfolio to get a film job. So it's kind of
That's cool, man. Um, yeah. What would you say is the most challenging concept of color for you?
I think it's so easy to, because you're always on your computer painting digitally. It's so easy to have all your work look really digital in a color sense. Um, so really understanding and knowing how like color works in real life, getting that like richness to your color that like I can't explain in words. It's just you gotta like go outside and experience it. I think translating that and making your digital stuff have the same feeling that the same. It's like such a hard thing to talk about, but it's like getting your colors to not feel digital, but to feel real and like full of life and have emotion behind them. I think that transition it's super challenging, but once you do it or you get close, it's like it's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Would you say only after you painted plein air painting or outside painting that it started translating to your digital work?
Yeah, it was a combination of plein air painting and studying master, like doing the master studies. Um,
I see.
kind of doing both of those at the same time.
When you do master studies, are they usually digital as well, or do you do like traditional master studies?
I usually do them digitally. Um, yeah, and then traditional paint, um, I'll just do that outside, like plein air.
Cool. How do you go about studying the masters? Like, for example, if somebody was just starting to get into colors, I know some people don't exactly uh, know what they're doing while they're studying the masters. Is there something that you're in specific that you're watching out for?
Yeah. Um, sorry about the low res file here, but um, first thing, like if I was going to do a study of this, I would block in the values. So, um, because the value structures, that's like it's like the structure to the whole painting. That's what will make a painting good or not. Um, so I'd
Mhm.
like look for the big dark shapes and light shapes and put those in. Just block them in with like big brushes, and then after that, I'd look for the next size shape. So like biggest shape, and then like the medium shapes. So like these dark shapes under the trees, or this like light shape over here, like this shape. Um, it's all about shapes and not drawing and rendering and building. It's just looking for shapes and colors um, and then going in and really figuring out he's got this like greenish sky and that's reflecting down onto the pavement and tops of the buildings um, are really cool and then the deeper shadows are really warm so like figuring out like how how these masters saw color and how it translated to their paintings. Yeah, that's kind of my thought process when doing these.
Mhm. That's cool. Do you have like when it comes to your work in general, do you have a specific process that you use, or do you prefer to work without one?
Like yes and no. Um, I think if you have too much of a process that you do every time, that's like a formula to creating a good painting every time. It's like you kind of get stuck in a rut, and your artwork it like plateaus. You know, you like
Mhm.
stop growing. You're just like, oh, it's another painting I did. Just I don't know if it's better or worse than my last one. You know.
Mhm.
So I generally have a process. It's like I think I think about blocking in um, blocking in the values. Like when you saw when I was flipping through some of my artwork, I do like the three value study, just blocking in the big shapes. So usually I'll do that, and then
Hmm.
sometimes like this one I've got more of a drawing under it. So I'm starting to draw more. It's like a way I've been switching things up a little bit, and yeah, and sometimes I'll paint everything on one layer and then block things out like later on. So it's I think keeping it fresh, like experimenting is always good.
Hmm. Cool. Do you have a daily routine or morning ritual you prefer before you start your day?
I eat a big breakfast in the morning, coffee, wake up, um, and then I like to do some kind of sketch, whether it's a study from like a film still or like a master study. That that's great to warm up and then also remind yourself um, of those core like principles that make a good painting before you like start your day.
Hmm.
So even if it's like a 5 or 10 minute sketch, I like to do something like that.
Cool. So the piece that you're currently working on, is this the after you block in the values and you have your line work, do you
Yeah.
start experimenting with the colors, or what's your next step?
Um, yeah, I did the line drawing and then I just made a layer on top of everything and I'm just kind of painting in to experiment with color.
Hmm.
Um, this is like a new experiment that I've been doing. Um, um, Something I've been trying to do is paint. Like I'll like separate some of my layers and then I'll make a layer on top of everything and just block it in with like big brushes, and that way you're not constrained to these like clipping masks and everything. It's just like really loose, and you can see like how the colors will mix together, and um, like I'm letting like the background colors bleed into like the foreground, just to experiment and come up with new color combinations, and then later on I can go back to these layers and that I've made underneath and select them, and then redefine some of these shapes. Select and then inverse, and then I can like redefine some of these shapes back here. But yeah, that's it's kind of like my process for this one.
Cool. Was there a specific piece of art that you did where you would say things clicked, or and why?
Yes. It was this piece right here. Um, Felt like I did a value sketch, and then I did the whole painting in like less than an hour, and I was happy with it. I was like, why does this work? It's like I feel like it's a successful painting, and um, like I didn't have to render much or do much detail, but it had a mood, some feeling to it, storytelling, and this is when I first started to really understand um, like grouping the values and leading your eye around with um, like light shapes or dark shapes, and yeah, this piece was a turning point for me, and it started with I've got the sketch right here, the bottom left hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, just started with that little grayscale sketch. So
Cool. Yeah, that's the one that I was mentioning earlier. I really like that one
oh
on
yeah,
the bottom as well. Yeah. Could you talk about this project a little bit, or?
yeah. It started like when I left my old job at the game studio. I wanted to pretend that I was at an animation studio working on a film. Um, so all the artwork I did were just like these concept pieces that I felt like would be useful for the for the film process. And uh, so yeah, I came up with like a loose story. These like two characters, and they find this robotic cat, and they ride around on a hover moped. And so yeah, just like I designed things, just it was my own story, so I could do whatever I wanted with it. And um, I did that for a few months, and then now it's like a few of my friends have become interested in it, and they want to help make this into like a real animation or something. So it's kind of grown, and um, yeah, I'm working with some friends, and we're gonna turn it into a pitch project and hopefully get this thing made. So um,
Man, that's awesome.
thanks. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have any advice on how you could become um, more aware of your artwork in terms of what's working and what's not?
Yeah. Um, I think keep a really open mind. Like keep a mindset that there's always something you can learn. Because you can always there's like painting and art. There's so much you can learn from anyone, and I think just always pushing yourself to that next level. Um, so, like looking, going back to the master paintings and studying outside. Um, just always looking for something else that you can learn. Um, yeah,
Cool.
it's like, um, yeah. Sorry about that answer, but I don't know. It's
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
yeah. Just keeping an open mind. Like sometimes, like I'll be talking with someone and um they'll be like, Zach, why can't I like get a job or something? And I'll be like, just you gotta just keep going. You gotta study like every day. Just keep painting. Like if you think you're good enough now, it's like you're never good enough. You just gotta keep pushing every day. You know.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when I was first like starting doing art in the beginning, I couldn't even like I wasn't even aware of why it wasn't working or why it was. And like you just said, only by keeping an open mind and I kind of treated it like a video game, like an RPG, where you can level up for the rest of your life until you die.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, I'm good here. Like I learned everything.
Yeah. Once you say you're good, then it's like you settle, and then it's like everyone's gonna surpass you.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, there's that next level you gotta get to.
That's cool. How long does the piece that we're looking at, how long did that like take you? What was your process for this piece?
This one took me a couple days, so like 2 days to do, but that's that's kind of slow for me now. Um, like now I'll do something. Usually a painting will take me a day. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, or a day and a half.
Cool. And do you start the same way? Done black and white, 2, 3 value thumbnails.
Yeah, um, and actually at work, um, it's more collaborative. Sometimes we'll get like I'll work with like the 3D people, and we'll like um, do like different camera angles in an environment. Um, so we'll pick out shots that way, and then I'll paint on top of their 3D, or I'll
Mhm.
take someone's drawing and paint that, um, or I'll take a storyboard um, and paint on top of that. But yeah, I always block it into a few values to start with.
Cool. Even like if it's a 3D, working on top of a 3D model.
Yeah, yeah, I'll take the 3D, which is usually pretty complicated. There's tons of stuff in it and tons of buildings or whatever, and I'll just darken the image, and then I'll just block in. Like I'll group the big shadow areas, group the light areas, um, or sometimes if the lighting's not right or I want to try a different lighting, I'll just completely just switch everything around in the 3D and um, kind of start from scratch, but use the 3D as just like a ruler for like the correct perspective and everything.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so I try not to like get too attached to anything, you know.
Hmm. Hmm. Cool. Do you prefer working collaboratively on a piece? Like, what's the difference between, you working just on your personal pieces and then as compared to working like collaboratively?
Yeah, I do like working collaboratively um, a lot. I feel like I can make much better artwork because it's like I'm using someone else's skills um, and just adding it to like what I know. Um, so it just opens up more opportunities. And yeah, with some of my personal stuff, like at the moment, I'm working on a piece with one of my friends. He's making it in 3D, and then we're gonna figure out some camera angles, and then I'm gonna paint some of them. So it's fun.
Hmm. Cool, cool. So we have about like half an hour still. If you want, you could keep demoing, and please feel free to ask any questions, anyone, as Zach works on his awesome demo. Are you already thinking about color, like when you started that line sketch, or it's just something you don't think about till you're done with that
Yeah, I
part?
would keep it in the back of my mind. Um, because if you have the mood kind of figured out, um, that'll influence like everything you do. So this I know I wanted to be like an overcast um, lighting situation. So
Hmm.
just keeping that in the back of your mind, it'll help your storytelling and everything.
Cool.
That was weird.
Dude, sometimes Photoshop does weird things.
So I like to use this brush. Um, it's one that I made a while ago. It's like you put a brush stroke down and it like jitters um, the hue and saturation a little bit. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah, it's good for just getting some of those colors that you might not think about, just being more experimental with it.
Hmm. Is there any reason why you don't look at the line work anymore at this point?
I might, I've got it on a layer underneath, so
Hmm.
if I command click on that layer, you can see it selected it all. Um, and then I'll command H and then to hide it.
Oh,
Then I can bring some of it back. So I'm painting in that selection right now. The selection is hidden.
I see. I see.
So um, yeah, I'd like to just keep the line art. Um, I don't want to get too married to it, you know.
Hmm. So that layer with the line is the image that we're seeing on the bottom right, right?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. And that's the other thing. I usually take a screenshot and stick it to the corner of my screen, so that
Mhm.
I can always look back to it.
I see. That's cool, man. I'm gonna have to try it out later today. Is this a process that you use for work as well, or it's just something that you just choose, like decide depending on the piece?
Um, like it's always evolving and changing, and
Hmm.
yeah, this is what I'm. This is kind of like my process I go through at work now.
I see. Cool. We have a question from Catherine. What are the things that influenced you to become an artist or choose art as a career?
Um, my family was pretty artistic growing up. Like my dad is a kindergarten through eighth grade art teacher, and my mom went to art school. She did like graphic design stuff. Um,
Mhm.
my great grandpa was like a landscape painter. Um, so I kind of like had that as a childhood, just appreciating art. I always had a sketchbook. Um, so yeah, I didn't. I think in high school, like I couldn't picture myself doing anything else. So it's like I'll try to make it as an artist.
That's awesome. Would you say having the support of your family really helped you like become an artist?
Yeah, definitely. I think my dad, when I was looking into like art careers and thinking about everything, my dad was like, "You just got to think about like what do you want to do the most, and like don't worry about the money or anything. Just do that one thing because if you do what you want to do the most, you'll become the best at it because you'll be motivated to do it. Um, yeah, you'll want to do it every day, so you'll become really good at it. And I think, yeah, I'm thankful that he told me that because I was thinking about like how am I going to make money or like what should I do. But I'm glad I stuck with art and just made it work because you can make it work.
Hmm.
Would you like me to kind of talk about what I'm doing or
Yeah, go ahead. I was just watching you, letting you do your thing.
cool? Um, right now I'm experimenting with colors. I'm thinking about like the local color. You can see I put down this like saturated red, and then I've got this really overcast day. So thinking about how that atmosphere will hit these colors and what'll happen to them. So I'm bringing some of that greenish sky to them. Like that's what I love about this Richard Schmid painting down here. Um, kind of like looking at that for reference
Hmm.
colors. One thing that's really cool is he's got these like deep purpley reds in the shadows.
Mm.
So I'm gonna definitely try to capture some of that. When I'm laying down brushstrokes, I'm thinking about the local color of the object and then what will happen to that color with this kind of lighting. So I've got this yellowy building with this overcast day. So working these colors together until I feel like I've captured that.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll like literally just take my brush and stamp it around to just like make sure I'm not getting too tight in areas and just for those happy accidents.
Hmm.
I just selected my lines again to bring back some of the original sketch.
Yeah, it's really cool just watching you paint.
Cool.
Um, how did you decide on those three pretty vibrant colors, or is it just something that you're so used to already?
Um, I knew I'm going to have some vibrant colors up here. Um, and then I got some red here. And then, so I wanted to pull, I'm thinking about your eye. And, let's
Hmm.
maybe making like an S shape.
Mm.
Because this is going to be the focal point here. So, yeah, just thinking about the way your eye will go with these, putting like little splashes of color.
Hmm. That's cool. So you were already thinking about the S-shaped composition, and you're using the vibrant colors to kind of lead our eye there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Got these people on a new layer so I can um, just block them in really fast
Hmm.
and also keep some hard edges there. So you can see how like loose I keep it at this point. So,
Yeah.
so I've got direction of light too. yeah, pulling in that light right there that brings
Hmm.
in some more depth and feeds your eye here.
Hmm. When you're putting down brush marks or just marks in general, is there a specific hierarchy in terms of like how you're choosing the color? Like, for example, do you consider the local color first before anything else, or if that makes does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely in my brain, I'm thinking about the local color first.
Hmm.
And then sometimes I'll put the local color down and then just start grabbing like the different light sources and kind of sprinkling it onto that and like mixing it together and then like adjusting the color until it feels right.
I see.
Yeah. So if I had, um, say, like an orange light under here, I would just take that same orange color and just like pull it into this color and then mix them together and then maybe adjust the saturation values until I feel like it that's the right color. Yeah.
Hmm. Question from Alexandra. What would you say are the best and worst to being an artist?
Hmm. The best is that you have the best job in the world. I think like go to work and paint all day, and it's so much fun. Um, the worst, I think, like the social part of it, having like a real life. It's like I found that a lot of people don't understand. Um, it's like, Zach, why do you like you worked all week. Why do you like paint on the weekends? Or like, um, why do you after work sketch more? Or um, or why do you do that freelance project after work or something? It's like just normal people don't understand. It's like I just love to paint, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think explaining to like, your friends and family that like this is my career, this is what I love doing, and you know if I bring my sketchbook everywhere with me and draw, like doesn't mean I don't want to hang out with you or spend time with you. It's just that like art, that artist in you. It's just always like trying to grow and learn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's,
Yeah, I can totally relate with you on that one.
yeah. Yeah, I've lost so many girlfriends for that reason.
It's funny that you bring that up. I was just thinking about that. But now I'm with an artist, so it's
Oh,
so much easier. I don't have to explain myself. Like, yeah, I'm gonna draw the whole day. I can't see you.
yep. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool. Well, we're just about coming to an end to this interview. Is there any last questions anyone would like to ask, or any last words you'd like to say, Zach?
No, I don't think so. I hope everyone had a good time and they learned something.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I learned quite a few things from you today as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was great.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Happy Easter.
Sorry about that. A little bit of background noise. Some people cleaning. Feel bad
It's all
about
good. It's all good. I have a question from Catherine. Based on your own experience, what are the things that you would recommend to starting artists?
I talked about doing like the master studies and film studies and stuff. I would make that your priority. Doing tons of studies. Don't worry about finished paintings. Just study every day. Like, and go outside and learn from real light. Study for masters. So I think repetition. Just keep doing it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for being here. And be sure to check out Zach's class on CGMA. And yeah, thank you so much, Zach.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, everybody have a great Sunday. Bye bye.
See ya.